Hello. It has been a while since I've been in YouTube rhythm, and I'm trying to get it back. I did a little journal the other day, like an open journal, and that was fun. Oh yeah, let's get back into this. Today I do have a specific topic, just something to share with you that I've been doing that I think is really helpful and really powerful. And if you want, I can explain more why I think this is helpful. I'm happy to do that. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the video. But um, there's multiple levels of depth that you can do this. But essentially, this isn't something really new. You just might not have really tried it before. It's just mantras, manifestation. This is like basic, like 101, making change in your life. Yeah, just making change in your life, starting with visualization and energy work. But I want to give you the most practical way to do this, and it's just writing down what you want to be as if you already are. That's it. I'm serious, you've probably ran into this kind of thing before, and you know what? I'm kind of over the need to give you information that is like completely 100% original. I used to be in that mindset, but I am now in the mindset of I'm going to give you what I think is important. I'm going to give you the ideas that have made a difference to me, and my own twist on them will probably make itself apparent anyways. No two people approach the same concept the same way. So here's what I did this morning. I do this lately, maybe like once or twice a week. You could totally do it every day, but what I did is in my journal, I just wrote all the things that I wanted to be as if I already was. So here's just my list from this morning. I actually did this at work during a slow part of the day. I wrote all these things because I was really not feeling great. I wrote, I am strong. I am valuable. I am strong by being vulnerable. I speak positive realities. I confirm good options. I choose. I trust. I ask graciously for what I want and need. I am taken care of. I start my days in control. I know someone with the answers. I have healthy enjoyments. I temper my tendencies. I understand the flow of life and accept my situation. I can change my situation through hope and forgiveness. I am connected. I am balanced. I am beautiful. I am enough even when I am doing nothing. I have peace. I listen to what is edifying. I help when I am able. My thoughts are valuable. Okay, that was my list for today. And most of those came as answers to things that I really wasn't feeling. Like, I felt very out of my element this morning. I felt very undignified is the word that I like to use. When you're feeling dignified, you're just in your element. You're yourself. You're max potential. When you're undignified, you are not operating at the top of your game. And so when I'm realizing that, those are times when I go in and I try to counter that energy. You don't even have to write things that you believe. That's the thing. Is in that moment, I didn't really feel any of those things. And they would have felt like lies. Except the strange thing is, as you write them, they don't feel like lies anymore. Because the power of writing something down has a lot of gravity. As you write it, your mind will believe it just a little bit more, and it will even look for ways to explain why that would be true. So even though I felt like really weak and tired this morning, when I wrote, I am strong, my brain was already saying, really? Oh, I guess I could see that. I guess you're strong if you realize the potential that you have, if and you're emotionally strong because you handled this week, and it starts finding reasons to make that true. When I wrote "I am taken care of," well, I've felt very insecure all week, especially like, I don't know, money wise. Like stocks had a really rough week, and I also just didn't have as much in my checking account as I thought I did. Stuff like that, a lot of little stuff, and so I felt really like financially not together. But when I wrote "I am taken care of," it reminded me that I actually have way more money than I had 2 months ago. Like, I'm doing substantially better than I was 2 months ago, and like way better than I was a year ago. And that like those stocks are gonna come back, and I'm making more money this week. I was at work, and that there are people that will help me if I really needed help anyways. And so when I wrote "I am taken care of," my brain found all these reasons to remind myself that yes, you are, and actually you're doing a pretty good job of taking care of yourself. You just didn't feel like it in this moment. And I could say this about every single thing on here. Almost anything you write can be true. Because if you wrote it, it was already in your brain. If you were able to think it, it was somewhere in your brain. Okay? So the act of writing is actually choosing what you think. I usually think a little bit of everything. I feel like I think both opposites of, like, both sides of every coin. That's how I feel. And so emotions will just push me to one or the other. But because I have the capacity for kind of leaning to one side of the spectrum or another, the act of writing it down will like direct your attention, will direct your thoughts to whatever spectrum is actually desirable. So I know it's so simple. Like, I did this in 5 minutes. Like, I just wrote just whatever came to mind, whatever I wanted to be true. I just wrote it as if it was true. And my mindset definitely throughout the day has just steadily got better. I've noticed my inner dialogue being a little bit healthier, having better reactions to myself, being more positive. So I do think this makes a difference. And I've encouraged friends to do this when they were feeling really stuck. I just told them to take their pen to paper, and I've seen days and weeks and even months turn around from just like the spark of like that intentional moment. So I really encourage you to try this. The deeper level, like level 2 of this, is to send it past your conscious mind, like to send it deeper into your subconscious mind. That's where a lot of the magic of the mind happens, so much. And the way to do that is to actually write through the English, past the English. How I do this is through sigil work, SIGIL. A sigil is, I had a really good definition of it. I'm gonna find it really quick. My definition of it is basically like a symbol that wraps up, that takes an intention and wraps it up. It kind of packages it up in a way that sends it deeper into your subconscious. Here we go. A sigil. According to, I think this is from Genesis. I think this is written by Genesis Peorage. I'm not sure. Peorage. He said, a sigil, a 2 or 3 dimensional product invoking a clear intention, usually primarily graphically and non-linguistically, in a linear everyday sense. A 2- or 3-dimensional product invoking a clear intention, usually primarily graphically and non-linguistically, in a linear everyday sense. I like that. So what I'll do is I can take any of these things, like anything that I want to be true. Maybe I am balanced. If I feel like I've been really off balance, I will take those words, I'll have them on paper, and then I will take all the letters in that word and I'll start rearranging them together. I'll like layer them over each other. I'll put them next to each other. They go out of order, whatever. I'll have a layer of that. And then I'll like do it again. And I keep just rearranging the letters, simplifying them, melting them together, and until really you can't even tell that it's English anymore. I'm gonna look for an example in my book. You can't even really tell that it's English. And it just becomes a symbol. And our subconscious mind loves symbols. It processes them much faster, actually. It's a little more primal. It just registers differently. So I have one. This is one I actually did for... Oh, here's one. I normally wouldn't really share the process. I did I am lucky. I really like how this one turned out. So you can see, I'm gonna hide the end product. You can see here, that was my first like arrangement of the letters. Then I scooted over, then it became this, and then it ended up being this. That's just kind of my style. I don't know, I have a linear style since I'm an artist as well. But that means I'm lucky. You couldn't really tell. If you were looking for all the letters, you could find it. But otherwise, it's just a thing. It almost looks like a tree in this case. And then I put those things into a book. I just have a book full of sigils that I've made. And if you're just flipping through, a lot of them I forget what they meant. If I really try to remember, I can, but they just kind of blur, but they still have a power. So sigil making, and it's also in the process of turning those letters into a symbol, you're also just reiterating the idea to yourself also. You're spending more time on it. You're turning it into ritual. And so you're also showing yourself this is important. You're like proving to yourself that this is important, that you really want to be this, you really want to embody this energy. So sigil making is something that I really love to do. I think anybody can do it. It is typically associated more with the occult, with magic working. But first of all, I think that those tools and practices should be accessible to everyone. I just think it's backed by psychology. I think there's psychology to it, and there's real power to it. So yeah, try this. Either the level 1 or level 2 mantra writing. It's made a big difference in my life over the last month or two. Why do I think this works? I think that this works because I could go into my full theology, ontology, philosophy of it, but to be simple, to keep it short for now, what I'll say is there's this phrase, I can't remember if I quoted it or came up with it, but it's just that the way to get anywhere is by belonging there. I'll say it again. The way you get to anywhere is by belonging there. Think about it. if you're somewhere that you don't belong, you eventually get kicked out or you leave. Or if you stay, you just hate it, right? And you don't even feel like you're supposed to be there. If you don't, I really think if you don't belong somewhere, you will. It will change, or you will leave, or you will change until you belong there. Depends how strong you are. Depends how active or passive you are. If you're being super passive, you don't belong somewhere, eventually you will belong there because you don't leave. But most of the time, you will end up where you belong, and it creates change over time. It's not always instant, but sometimes it's really instant, depending on how focused your will is and how aware you are of where you belong. But the universe is self-organizing. Just think about like elements and the way just chemistry works in general. How do bonds form between atoms? There's a math to it, right? And so if this atom needs this many electrons and this one has this many electrons, and they have a way that they fit, and they just naturally do. Like, things just fit. The universe is a puzzle constantly putting itself together. It is self-organizing. And so in the same way that we have, like, we make categories for ourselves and we're really good at putting things with things, if we want to, you know. If you're a naturally organized person, or if someone tells you to organize something, you can find a way to organize just about anything. Even in a folder on a computer, right? Like, you can organize it by name, date modified, or by its type, or by its size. Like we always have options, but regardless, we organize things. We also get organized because we're part of something bigger. And I don't even care if you think it's conscious or not. If you belong somewhere, something bigger than you is going to try to put you there. If you don't belong somewhere, something bigger than you is going to try to move you out of there. Or it's going to get sick. Like, that's what happens. When there's something in your body that doesn't belong in your body, you reject it. Or if it stays, it destroys the body. Or the body has to destroy it. Either rejects it or destroys it, or changes it, or it changes you, or it destroys it, and everything with it. Anyway, you are a part of something bigger than you, always. Everything is a part of something bigger than itself, and has things that make it up. Go look up holons. HOLON. Be a really good concept. That's essentially what I just said. But all I'm saying is, you're not the only person organizing your life. There is a greater organizing force that is listening to you and your concept of you. By listening, I don't necessarily mean literally. I just mean it can tell whether you're supposed to be where you are. So when you write things down and you reinforce and you confirm to yourself, I am this, I am this, I am this, you are more likely to act in that way, and you are more likely to feel that way. And if something actually was that way, it would think that way and it would feel that way. And where you belong will take notice of you. You process so much information every day, right? You see and hear so much, but how much of it do you remember? Not a lot. You remember what mattered to you, and you remember what really, really, really demanded your attention. Something has to demand your attention, or it has to naturally be something that you would pay attention to in order to stand out in your day full of an incredible amount of information that you could take in, that you could notice. you're a part of that for other people and for the world around you. If you want something, if you want to be in a certain place or with a certain kind of person, you do have to be the kind of person that place would want, or that kind of person would want to be around. So you have to start imagining what it would be like to, what it would feel like to be there, and then you have to start feeling that. It's kind of like a fake it till you make it, except it's not really faking it, it's desire, and it's will, and it's personal transformation, and it's kind of like shortcutting that whole process. So if I'm here and I'd like to be here, I could look at all the steps it would take to get there. And then I could take step 1, and then I could take step 2, and then I could take step 3, and I could take step 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and so on. It might be 100 steps, and I could just keep taking steps. The problem with that is you can start dividing those steps by smaller steps. You could get stuck at certain steps. You might have aversions to certain steps. It could be a long process, and it could be never-ending, really. Or you could skip ahead and say, what would it be like to be here? What would I be like if I was there? And meditate on it. Write these affirmations. Embody that energy that you would have if you belonged there. I know you're not there. It's okay. It just literally doesn't even matter. Just act like you're there. Imagine like you're there. And you will actually fast forward that process. The steps won't even feel like steps. Not only will you start naturally moving, but this will naturally start moving towards you. It will be more like gravity because you belong there. This is energy work. This is like the psychology and like the fundamentals of what energy work really means to me. I think there are other ways to do this thing, the magnet, gravity thing as well. I have other tools. I don't want to get into them right now, but the first one is just imagining who you want to be and where you want to be, but like taking some tangible steps, taking pen to paper and writing things. You're proving to yourself that's important to you. You can't just think them. Do something about your thoughts. Enact your thoughts. And try out sigil making. Look up sigils, look up all the different ways that people do them. Because there's a lot of ways, there's not just the way that I do it. I've practiced a lot, and I have a way that feels really good to me. And it's easy once I sit down to do it. You're going to prove to yourself that's important, and you're going to get practice feeling the way that you want to feel. And it might be small at first, but these are the kinds of things that can end up being very big. So, yeah. Let me know if you have any visualization, manifestation, energy work techniques, things that you do to supercharge like change in your life. And I also want to be clear that there is no substitute also for work. Or I'm not saying like this means you don't have to do anything actively in your environment. This is kind of to help you naturally do the work that you need to do, instead of it feeling like work. You will always have to take action. You will always have to, at the very least, respond to the opportunities offered to you. You do have to be a participant in your life. It just doesn't have to be hard. Like, it's always going to take work or action, but that doesn't mean it can't feel like play along the way, and it doesn't mean it has to be insanely difficult. It might be, but it definitely doesn't have to be. If you believe that about where you want to go, if you believe that you have to go through incredibly difficult things, you might already be resisting that thing. Because the person who might have to be there might actually have to be the kind of person who thinks that it's easy to be there. And so if you think it would be difficult to get there, you're already not belonging there. Does that make sense? I'm being really general too. I don't even feel the need to be super specific. I want you to think about your own situations here. But yeah, let me know if there's techniques that you have. Let me know if you try this and if it makes a difference in your day or week or more. I would love to hear back from you. Feels good to be making a video again. Feels good to be making content. I think it is something I'm made to do. I do think my thoughts are valuable. I think that all thoughts are valuable, especially when you spend time on them, especially when you practice articulating them to other people. So, I'll be back. Adios.